Hey, and welcome to the Behavioral Business Blueprint, where we dive into the world of behavioral health entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, we have someone special today. We have a true boss on this episode. I've been following this lady's journey for years. She's the CEO of Study Notes ABA and one half of the crew of Behavior Vidges podcast, Liette Sachs. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Arthur, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So my first question, as I look in the background, I see where you are. Looks like your work site. When do you sleep or find time for yourself?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I wish I could be like one of these motivational people who's like, I have balance, I'm up at 5 working out. It's just not me. I don't have balance. I envy people who do. My sleeping hours, I'd say, are like midnight to my body's natural clock wakes up at like 6:51 or something. Um,
Okay.
I think that's
That
just solely as like a to avoid the alarm going off at 7. Uh, mm,
I mean that's pretty good amount of sleep. I'm between 8 and 10. I'm asleep and I wake up naturally 3:30 or 4:30. Usually alarm doesn't even go off yet. I beat it by a minute, and I'm always like super proud to be up. It's quiet. I have two kids, so I mean you have a little one too, so I can
so
understand
those
that.
morning hours, like, I think it is so cool, like, getting shit done in the morning, like, your day is accomplished before anyone's has even started.
Oh
I and
yes,
it's not like I'm having productive hours at night. Like, yeah, I'm teaching twice a week, but it's not like I'm, like, doing productive shit. It's just, like, that is a time that I could take for myself to like, when I get Kobe to bed, my son,
hmm
I am like, it takes me a while to then go get in the shower. Like, I'll sit on my bed for like, and then I'll start, like, scrolling Instagram, which also could be, like, a mix of, like, you know, my business Instagram too, right? Like, different things like that, responding to things. I do not so I don't have that balance really. I'm seeking it.
I think we all are, especially if you're doing any type of business. It's hard to separate. This is what I do for a living. Like I can't really just cut it off. And when did you start Study Notes ABA? And can you also tell people what Study Notes ABA is?
Sure. So, Study Notes ABA, I'd say well, it actually started in 2017, but not as a business. It just started as an Instagram account of me posting my study notes for ABA. That's why the name is Study Notes ABA. I would have trust me, I'm more creative than that. I would have made a more cute, fun name if I knew it was going to be a business. Um, but Study Notes ABA is, or the start of it is a test prep company to help people pass the BCBA exam. That's probably like the most boring explanation if I was going to say what it is. Uh, but it came to be um, because of challenges that I could just give like the most like brief synopsis. So I have a lot of health issues,
Okay.
lupus being one of them, uh, and I've had a lot of
Oh.
struggles and setbacks. And one of them was a health challenge that resulted in me losing 3 of my fingertips, uh,
Mm.
and my fingers freezing off. And that was like right when I was finishing my hours and like supposed to be testing. So I was like hospitalized for a long time. And I'm like, do you say bad words on this podcast?
Wow. You can be yourself. I know how you are.
Okay, I'm like, "Fuck, like, how am I gonna pass this test? Like, there's no way, like, I'm literally like, my brain is fried. I've like, what? Like, I'm missing my hands, I can't do anything." Anyways, to, like, fast forward the story just because I know you've been in my class and you've heard it before, but, I guess not everyone has. I was
It's
like
good to hear it, live again. It's been
yeah,
about
so
5 years.
okay, so here I am. I'm just gonna reverse a little bit. I intended on being a special education teacher, that's all I ever wanted to do. I wanted to teach.
Woohoo!
I
Same
love
here.
teaching. Yeah, I love teaching. And then when I had a brother with autism, it was like, okay, I'll teach special ed. Um, so I went to school for that. And then I got diagnosed with lupus while I was in my junior year of college, which made finishing school really difficult. which thank God I was a special ed major because they have to like actually practice what they preach about accommodations and modifications. Because like I took most of my school from a hospital bed. But I was like determined to finish. So like I did like my student teaching, like I'd be in the hospital, like getting fluids and go meet whatever it was, all this stuff. I started teaching. I started at a charter school in DC and I was sick. Like I was catching everything these kids had because like in the low income area, understandably the parents can't take off when their kid's sick. So they'd send them in sick. But here I am with on immunosuppressant medications to make my immune system stop attacking itself. So I was catching everything. Like I was just like a useless teacher because I was just hospitalized. So I
That's a
lasted like,
lot.
what'd you say?
No, I was saying that. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Just to go
But
through
I
all
was
of
like
that.
determined. I like wanted to be a hero. I couldn't. And so it was like the most intense training for this charter school. So I lasted like the training, which was like a month and a half over the summer, but I think I lasted like 3 weeks in the actual classroom because I was just so ill. Um,
Wow.
so then I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll go the behavioral route. I had taken one behavior class in my special ed major. So I was like, oh,
Same
ABA will
here.
be
Just
easy.
one.
Yeah, I was like, ABA will be easy. I know my program was so behavior based. I had no idea like how much deeper it goes.
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm the same way.
Right? Like
I
I was
just
like,
knew I was
I
gonna pass.
understand reinforcement, whatever. Oh. Um, so I got into my coursework through FIT. I'm taking it, and I mean, it took me forever to collect my hours because I could only work part time. I probably was working like 10 hours a week.
Oh
Um,
wow. How
because
many
my
hours
health,
did you need at the time?
you needed 1,500.
Okay.
So I had a remote supervisor who I had found, someone who went to the university that I had gone to, and it was like there wasn't like that many people I knew who were in ABA, and I was like, "Can I pay you to remote supervise me? Because I'm working at this company." And she was like, "Liat, do me a favor. I'll do it for you for free. Like I'm happy to meet with you, but just pay it forward later, and that will matter because that's where study notes came in later on."
Wow.
So I had the supervisor who like guided me. Shout out to Toby if you're listening to this. Um, and so And I was like bummed. Like I was not feeling cool at this point. Like I had to like leave my job. At this point I started this is 2023. I was like 23 years old like after grad school, I want to say. And
Wow.
I'm like my roommate was like a special ed teacher, so like she's going every day. I'm just like sitting and like taking my FIT courses and going to work 10 hours a week, so like 2 hours a day. And so anyways, when I finally collected my hours, just took a minute. I was like, I'm going to take this test. I'm ready. Like, and I'm going to have a career. Like all your friends, you see them working, you're comparing yourself. Um, then life had other plans for me, and that's when I had got really sick, and they said my gallbladder needed to come out. Okay,
Oh,
I listened, and with that, there was a mistake made during the surgery where they didn't read my medical records and they didn't
what?
read about my circulation issues and my Raynaud's. So I came out of the surgery with really itchy hands, which I did not know at the time what was happening. Um, I had begun to lose multiple fingers, and so they went from like they turned eventually like purple, then black, and they did all these things to try save it, and like flew me up to like the number one doctor in the world for this condition at Hopkins, and I was in hospital for 4 months there, like drugged, like on the highest amount of like morphine and Dilaudid. And the only thing I kept being like, it's like, I got to take my test. I'm never going to take it. I can't even remember like like they'd give me like, Leah, house and shoe. What did I say? I'm like, I have no idea. And then how the hell am I going to like, but I had this like pressure of like, how am I going to remember everything in my Cooper book?
Oh
Which
my.
I wasn't.
This is before you even thought about study notes, ABA. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, study notes
this is
wasn't
a
even like a thing.
huge backstory. I had no idea about all of this. So this is amazing. I'm learning as the listeners
Oh,
are
so
learning
I'm
too
sorry.
about.
Yeah, by the way, anyone listening, and also part of study notes is my ADD. So like I'll be skipping around. This is all my backstory to get to the point of 4 months later, they're like trying to like make sure I'm saving the rest of my toes, my hands, what they could. It ended up that I lost like two pinkies, tips, and the top of my right middle finger. Kind of sucks losing a middle finger. I have to like think about which finger
Uh,
to use when I'm giving someone the finger, or they're like, "No, fuck you," you're missing whatever. But so eventually, I'm talking about like living in 4 months, like in agony and like on like a painkiller drip, like my brain fried to mush. And this now is in 2016 when I had finally like finished my hours and I was depressed. I was in a very, very dark place.
I can
Uh,
imagine.
that was like, I already had like tried picking myself up. I couldn't be a teacher. Now it's like, I wanted to do this other thing. And I was actually telling someone the story the other day and it was like, wow, like you kind of tell a story and you don't really think about it. But I wasn't able to use my hands. So I like asked my mom if she could write in my diary for me or like in a notebook because I wanted to like release these thoughts. And I was like, "Can you help me?" And this one's going to get dark, so trigger warning. I was like, "I want you to write
Okay.
a list of like all the reasons that I don't want to live anymore." And obviously, as a parent, this like now I'm a parent too, right? So I'm like, if my kid had
Hmm.
me write that, that would literally like. She was like, "Okay, like we could write it as an exercise, but like that's never an option, because I was in that amount of pain, like watching their fingers die. Like it was something that you
Oh
never want to be
wow.
in. Like I also didn't know what my future had for me. I had people like wiping my ass, dressing me. I just wasn't in a good place. So, um, anyways, fast forward 4 months through this. Eventually, they ended up amputating the fingers and putting these, and they were like open wounds to retain them.
Hmm.
All gross to retain the most length. And from that moment on, like literally open, like cut your fingers off, like Halloween scary thing you'd see. I was like, at that point, I was 27 and I'm like, I do not give a fuck. I am making something of myself. I am passing this fucking test. So, what I did is I had to like move back home by the way, like with my parents. I'm really not feeling cool during this. Like my friends now I'm 27, now I'm turning 28, and I would sit and I'd go to this bubble tea shop every day and write my notes out. So I had my Cooper book and I'd like sit and write my notes. Meanwhile, I'm like in OT, like concurrently learning how to reuse my hands. Like they're having me pick up marbles and pick up cards. But I always liked handwriting. Like I always liked like artsy stuff, handwriting, school supplies, like all that stuff.
If you haven't been on Study Notes ABA's page, please go. You can tell that you do.
Yes,
Even me,
any
you gave me the
stationery is
love.
like, yeah.
I like taking notes now too. I was taking notes with different colored pens. I've never in my life
There's
cared to
something fun
write
about it.
notes.
Exactly. So I was like, and not to mention during this time, I've been on ADD med since I was in fourth grade. Like I was never brilliant in school. I was never an academic. Like I would I'd get like a 90 something on a project only because it had like Christmas lights and like fur, not because it was like the greatest content. It was just like they're like this girl puts effort in. Um so also that's just like funny that I have a test prep company when I was like no academic myself. Um but anyways, so I would sit and study every day. I'd go sit and I wasn't allowed to take my ADD meds because they were worried that it would ruin like the healing and the circulation of my hands, like prevent more blood from going to my hands. So I'm like, how am I going to do this? Like I've been on these meds since I was in fourth grade. What is that? 8, 9 years old, maybe. And now like my fingers are cut off. I'm having to change these like disgusting open wounds like 4 times a day. Like, how am I going to do this? But I've never seen that part of Liat be like that determined at something, being like, I'm fucking doing it. Like, I don't care.
Wow.
This was not about creating a business. This was just that, like, it was like that, or like I had given up on my own life, you know? So I did that. I started like writing my notes out, which, if you scroll all the way down, thousands of posts and study notes ABA, I had created this account because I was like any other distracted person and I wanted scrolling on Instagram, right? Matching law. I put my
Hmm.
time towards Instagram.
Okay,
And
ABA
I was like,
terms in here.
yeah, we'll throw them in. I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna make an account just to look at my own notes that I could see them like all in one place, like pretty, like for my own aesthetic. purposes. So I made Study Notes ABA. Again, not a cool name, but it was exactly what it was. And so I'd post my notes and my funny ways of remembering things and my acronyms and the colors, the fonts, the glitter. Like I had fun like staging my notes. And people started following it. There wasn't that many ABA accounts at the time. Now I see there's a lot, but there wasn't a lot. I guess I was in the right place at the right time and meeting a need that I had needed myself. Like it wasn't like I was trying to create a business. So people started following it. And at that point, you had to wait 45 days to get your results back. Did you have to wait
Oh,
45 days when
yes.
you tested?
The first 5 times, and on the sixth time, I got the test results the same day.
Oh, yeah, that
So,
feeling, dude.
oh yes, I still remember it. My test date just passed February 20th. It's like your birthday. I just can't forget it.
Wait, that's my
I remember
test
what I
date.
went through.
I'm
Oh
February
wow, really?
2018.
Oh, 2018. Okay. Yeah, I'm February 20th of 2020.
Oh my God. Okay.
So yeah,
Hell yeah.
that's crazy. Gosh, I'm just listening to the story, and I had questions about, what do you consider failures, and like what is something hard you went through. But I mean, you've answered all those questions, and to
No, but
get
I mean,
to
now that
go
it's
through
a
all
business, I
that.
guess this is kind of the backstory. Am I going on too long?
No, 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 please, no, keep going because I want to get to the actual study notes of
Okay,
how.
because
Because
now we're here. So let's say people started following it. That was the point. Then eventually um, when I passed, I was too scared to get a job at a clinic, but I did because I was worried about my health and like letting people down. But I ended up like doing it. But I on the side, my thing was people started following it, and I was like, if I could pass this test, I'm pretty sure I could get anyone to pass the fucking test. Hence the company's motto, pass the fucking test.
Yes, it is.
And it started off, and as my supervisor had said, just pay it forward later. So I started teaching these classes to anyone who was following me, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, get on Zoom at this time. I'll teach you." And it started like that. I literally would like hold a piece of paper up to the screen and be like, "Okay, here you can see positive and negative reinforcement, blah blah blah." And that's how it started. Then eventually I got a whiteboard, but it was free at 45 minutes. It was a free Zoom account. You had to log off and then get back in. Um, so the company had no overhead. It wasn't a company. It was just like get on. Eventually, after doing it for like a while, I started charging $5 a class because then I was like,
Wow.
it was $5 a class, yeah. And then it slowly grew, and to the point that it was like, and the risk was like leaving my real job with like health insurance and like that security to do this because it wasn't. Again, I was like making $5 a class, you know. Um, and then it was maybe like $10 a class until it became packages of all the different things we have now. But I remember like going through conversations, people like, do I do it? Like, it's just like, I'm so much happier when I'm teaching. And like, that's what I want to do. That's where I feel passionate. Like, I don't want to be talking to insurance. Like, I don't care about that. Like, I'm not like, I don't know the insurance like lingo. Anytime they ask me a question, I'll give an honest answer. And then it's like, oh no, we're not providing hours. And I'm like, oh fuck, I fucked up, you know?
Too honest.
um, so study notes came to be and I took that leap and I put everything I had into it, and it's grown to what it is now, to our classes that cover everything you need on the test. It's also grown into like sister companies of like CEUs. We have an app. We have lots of products. I mean, we have a lot of physical products that are for studying, like all things that I would love when studying, whether it's notebooks or coloring books to learn the concepts, or see what else we have here, like behavioral jokes of like clothing, inside jokes of like, water bottles, cups, just all of it. It's
I'm just going to request that you have more shirts. I have, Skinner's my homeboy shirt, and I actually wore it yesterday. I was like, man, I should have wore it today, not yesterday's interview.
we were saying we need
So,
like a printing press because, but I actually like your shirt you're wearing today, collaboration versus competition. That's
mhm.
one of the hugest things that I think we've done at Study Notes. Um, but yeah, I know the problem with why I want a printing press is because you make bulk of so many of a shirt and you have to like put so much money into making them that you have like one for a long time. It's like that way you could like make like a few, like I have a lot of clever ideas that I'd love to do. So that's just like a separate thing. But I need to like
Let me know. I would love to, hey,
when
get,
I'll send you
let me
one when I
know.
make any new design.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so now it's become a lot of things. For example, here's like a sample of our newest product, the SAF meds.
Wow.
Um,
I'm just so amazed because I
has a
remember
timer built in, every detail. I'm
you
excited
got
about
to.
this. Um,
I
there's
remember 2019 when you were just asking about, hey, does anybody know somebody that can make a website or an app, create an app? And I didn't know what you were doing. I thought, people say they're going to create an app, and sometimes it's just something small, just something really simple. And you were asking about the website too at the same time. I
dude.
had no idea this is what you're about to do. Because, I mean,
I
5 years,
didn't
I'm
either.
looking
It
at you.
didn't start like that. Like the website literally started as like a Wix. And then it's like, "Oh, here you want to get our videos? Here you get a Zoom recording." Like someone might be like going to the bathroom mid recording and you'll see that too if they don't put their camera off. It was like everything was like just like bootstrapped. It wasn't intended again, and like we'd give people like a Google link to a video, which like they had for a lifetime. So like I'm sure some people still have our videos out there from like 2019 of like me sitting on like a balcony or in an apartment like on the dark floor. I mean, now like they've gotten like beautiful quality, like it's shown through, like the the writing's displayed.
Yes, I mean, what you have now, I mean, I'm amazed because I just remember you were in your apartment. You had your dog Pavlov was
Mhm.
there, and you were just picking things out from the side, and you were just drawing. I mean, you can draw. I
Was
mean,
was
I'm
was it on a
horrible.
whiteboard?
It was a
Back then?
whiteboard. You were in an apartment. I think you were in Dallas. I
Yeah.
think
I was in an
at the
apartment,
time,
I was
yeah.
on a whiteboard, and everyone would complain about the glare because, like, I never knew where to put the computer because it'd be
I'm
like, "You're like,
doing,
I can't
yeah.
see, I can't see, I can't see." So, we fixed that problem since, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, look what you have now. I mean, when you do your podcast, you've really built a community. And I'm curious, have you ever sat down and just wrote how many people have come through Study Notes ABA, and whether they passed the first time or not, how many people have passed now? I mean, I can imagine you have to have over 1,000, 1,000 easily.
we have over a few thousand. Um, it's hard to know because, I mean, if I were to look at it's a little hard to look because if you look at, like, customers on the website, it's higher, but it might be like an RB2 who bought a water bottle or something, right? Um
Okay.
I definitely like when I look at the BACB number, I'm like of like more BCBAs, I'm like, that's really cool to know that like I helped contribute to that in some way. Uh as like
I
a
mean, that's a
growing
big deal because this test is not hard and studying for it is not easy at all. It's not fun, but
No, it is like so hard. You literally give up your life. And like anyone who's not in the field does not understand. Like so many people, like my sister's like this big corporate queen, which actually the joke is that she just quit her corporate job this past like her last day was yesterday. She was head of
oh
marketing at
wow.
Pizza Hut most recently. And she's
Oh,
coming to, like, work with study notes, but, like, she laughed at the beginning, like, "This is so cute, how you teach them this little part, blah, blah, blah," and I'm like, "Dude, you're gonna come, like, up our marketing one day." She's coming on as, like, a consultant for a few months to, like, up who
oh,
knows
she's
maybe
gonna
what
take it to
the
the
next
next height.
level.
I mean, oh
Yeah,
gosh, can't wait to
but
see what what you have.
March 1st is her start date. We call her Talia the Tank. Like, we are polar opposites, but, like, that bitch slays. Like, that girl's work ethic is like, we were so different, but, like, I don't know. But what was I saying? See, I forgot. I
Oh
was
yeah.
gonna
You were just telling me about the marketing as I was asking about the amount of people
oh,
that
the amount of
passed the
people.
exam.
Yeah, it's the reach is large, and even, like, just looking at the podcast, for example, like, our podcast just hit over 5,000,000 downloads, which is, like, insane. Like, who would have
Wow.
thought that people would, like I mean, and that doesn't mean that it's individual people. Like, they might have listened to, like, 150 episodes, you know?
I mean, even to
But
get past the 100, I'm new to this, so I didn't even have really any expectations at all. I just want to get the word out. I love just talking about business, behavioral
yes,
health,
it's,
and
like,
I'm
fun
like,
talking to people, right? That's what it starts as. It's
yeah,
just, like,
that's all
fun.
it
We used
is.
to, like, interview, like, pimps and and people in
You have some
cults.
unique guests on there every time. I think this past week it was like the beekeepers. And I was like,
Yeah.
how do you meet these people? Do people reach out to you for the
No, I reach out
interviews?
to them. Sometimes people reach out to us, like ABA people, but if it's like a weird topic, I'm like stalking them down.
Yeah, I've heard some interesting conversations on there. I'm just like, wow, she is just put it all out there. She'll ask the questions. I love it. It's needed. And some I asked this question maybe in 2020. Yeah, it was 2021. I think I was going to ABAI, or it might have been 2022. But you were talking about doing like a meetup for Study Notes ABA, and I've always wondered if you would ever put something together of just alumni of people at one of these conventions for us all to come together. Because I remember being on there. I think it was 100 of us. Of course, I was the only guy. I'm still trying to get more guys in the field. But I'm like,
No,
it's
we have we see more guys now, by the way. I mean, it's never
oh wow.
reaching the girls, but in class. But Casey like loves a guy in class.
Yeah, luckily I didn't get picked on too much, and I actually got more comfortable asking questions on there. I don't know what it was because it was so many of us, but I was engaged, doing the homework each week. Um, I'm still surprised. Like I had colored pens. Never in my life have I purchased colored pens until I met
There's
you
something
all.
to it, right? Like whether you're like whoever you are, people are like, "Are you sure your brand's like not too like girly branded?" I'm like, "No, dude. Everyone could like write in a different color. Like your brain is gonna remember it."
Yes, my gosh, I kept my notebook. I might still have it. I kept it for years afterwards. It's like I couldn't let it go, even though it was
Yeah, it's like a
torn
piece of
and
art.
yes, I'm just holding it like this is forever because all this information is in there. But gosh, this has been just great. Just the conversation. I mean, it really gave me a good backdrop of how you got to where you are now. I mean, so much just your back history. It seems like all of that pain and everything you went through just has pushed you so far, and it's like nothing can stop you. I mean, going after everything you've gone through, I don't know what else could stop you. I mean, it's like you have your mind made up. Where do you see Study Notes ABA going in the next few years?
So, I think like a lot of people like when they're looking at different like businesses from like a business angle, they're like, "Okay, like I'm looking to sell out in this year." Like I have no interest in that at all because Study Notes to me is like so much more than a business. It is my why, my purpose, my reason to wake up. It's what I love doing. So, until like I run out of ideas that like I don't have excitement anymore, like I just see it continuing to like solve problems. So it's like, okay, CEUs are boring. Let's make them fun. Okay, mock exams. Ugh, it's so hard to sit and do them like while I'm driving. Don't worry, we're gonna make an audio one for you. Like we just like become like focused on and
Wow.
whatever it is that's needed, and then we will also really like you know we like to keep making something better. Like I always say, like when I look at like what are our like qualities or like our things we stand by in the company, it's like I'm lazy as shit in general with people. Like if I could like look at like how I'm gonna walk from A to B, like if there's like even
I
like
couldn't
one
imagine
step
that.
less I have to take, I'm gonna take. But like when it comes to study notes, I'm very into being like, I'm not putting this out there until like it's the best it could possibly be. So if that means like creating these SAF meds that I have to go back 75 times to make the instructions like that much funnier or clearer or whatever it is, whether it means like I'm writing like if you go on our website and read like any product description, like I have sat there and personally like written it out, like laughing in the background, like with the personality. So like I continue to keep like bettering the products, like our collectives, like from when you were there, now they've all been professionally recorded. We got Ryan O involved, like we collaborate
Oh
with
wow. Oh, I know.
Ryan
Well,
O has made
that right
all our
there.
videos. We have our 8-hour supervision coming out, which is huge. Ryan O came in town and recorded that. I've never
God,
taken a
I
fun
love his
8-hour
videos.
supervision. This 8-hour supervision, like people are going to learn. And the goal really is to just like we're such a new field. There's so many things we could be doing better. So like when we see the opportunity, and it may not be me, let's say, who's like, like I did not write the curriculum for the 8 hour because that's not my lane. But I work with a total badass, Nicole Williams, who like wrote it, and then like I could snapify and make it fun and memorable and whatever it is, So
Collaboration.
the idea of
That's
just like
what it's all
continuing to
about.
collaborate with people who are like slay in the area that they slay and that we could pull together. So we have that. We have the 8 hour supervision coming out soon. We've collaborated with someone on a new supervision tracking app. So it tracks your hours. So between you and your supervisee and the supervisor, and it tracks exactly what items you've done on the task list, and like how many exposures you've had to it. So, a lot of people because we saw people are coming to the test as if like they've never seen this shit before. And it's because they haven't, like their supervision sucked ass. So we're like, if we could have them have better like exposure to all this while they're studying, like that's like an antecedent. I mean, while they're collecting their hours and like seeing these things in clinic, like we could fix that. So we kind of are just like, and there's so many things I want to do, but it's like you kind of have to be like, okay, let's do one at a time. But like this is like, so for the tracker, like there's a girl, Angie, who's amazing and like came to me and approached me. I'm so sorry. I just get
No, I
excited.
mean that tracker is so needed. Because I see so many times I'm still on a few of the study pages, and people are always asking, or ABA pages, and people are asking about how do I track hours, and somebody's saying, well, I have this spreadsheet. I'm like, why is it so difficult to track hours? I
And
mean,
then
this
like
is too
then you're
much.
responsible for not losing it, and then your supervisor didn't agree, so like it like won't allow you to move forward if like both of you guys have not signed off on it. Like you haven't met your criteria. So it's, I mean, it's just like crazy that our field doesn't have a better system.
Yeah, well, I'm sure once they see this, it's going to be amazing to see how many more trackers all of a sudden come. But I mean, you're first to it. I mean, that's going to be big once that comes. But if people want to, reach out to you or reach you or learn more about Study Notes ABA, how can they do that?
I recommend they go to our website, which by the way, if my sister heard me mentioning that, like I'm promoting the website, this big marketing chick is like, your website sucks ass. Um, but I'm still going to do it. It's functioning. Okay. It could be better. Um, studynotesaba.com, our Instagram at studynotesaba. You can follow us if you want to hear our podcast where we talk all ABA things. That's Behavior Bitches podcast. Um, it's just fun. It's also just like shit talking. So you could go do that. You're learning while productive listening. I'm so sorry. One sec. This is part of my like ears, my nose, my cough.
Oh yeah, trust me, it's getting everybody.
Um, so you could go check us out in any of these places. But if you do go to Study Notes ABA, it will lead you to all these different things that we've done, whether our CEUs, our app, our podcast. And if we could be of any help, Casey, my right hand bestie / if any of you guys know, Casey's my podcast partner and everything. You could catch her at contact@studynotesaba.com if you have any questions. But also, I wanted to give any of your listeners a coupon code for if they are studying or want any sort of test prep for any of like the collectives, the course that you took, which by the way, you said you took the test 6 times?
Yes, 6 times.
On the 6th time, you took
On the sixth
SNABA?
time I passed. No, I took SNABA. I think it was my going into my third or fourth time. So after that, I had a love of studying. I I still took the same method of writing out notes. I actually listened to you all and was like, okay, let me actually open up the Cooper book too this time because I tried to avoid opening up that book. I didn't. Everybody else was showing me their tabs. And I was like, I'm just not into that. So I have the colored pens. I said, this is going to get me through it. I should have
You gotta have
tabbed
the
the book
colored
too.
pens, take the notes, and read the book.
Yeah, I kind of skipped over that part. I try to just read here and there, but I wasn't really trying to read the whole chapter. And honestly, when I started reading the book and taking the notes, that's when I really started connecting the dots. Because just reading about something, maybe
Yeah.
just that one page, it wasn't working. I mean, my scores went up each time, but once I feel like I actually read the whole book, which I if you had told me I would read this whole Cooper book,
Yeah, dude,
this
I
White
know.
Bible, I would have said, no, I'm just going to read through, pick out some stuff. No, you have to know this whole book if you're going to pass. I mean, there's no way around it.
Okay, but you saw an improvement at least with us.
Oh yes, yes, yes,
Okay,
totally
that's what I need.
did.
That's what I need to know.
Yes.
We're still like always going for a pass rate. It's so hard to find because if people are actually like doing the full, because part of our program is reading the book, it's hard for me to.
Yeah.
We're
That
trying to make
yeah.
it more sexy with like book covers and tabs and things like that. But
I mean, if Cooper could change like the color and make it just more interesting. I'm trying to think of an ABA term. Please forgive me, all the ABA people. I cannot think of a term for that right away. But that would just make me want to open it up. I mean, you look at the book, it looks, it does not look like it's something I want to read. It's interesting once you read it, but it's not very Yeah,
you know
I
what?
would read that.
That's our new book cover.
Okay, see, that makes a difference. I would
Everything
want to
you need
open
to
that
pass
up.
the fucking test is in this book. Our tabs makes it a little more exciting now. Pavlov
Yes,
bookmark, but
and
it's
I
a
would
big
definitely
book.
pay
It's a
for
lot of
that
text. Like
too.
when you get it without anything, it's just like a thick book like that. So no one's excited.
So are you right now, do people have to purchase the Cooper book and then do all that, or can they just purchase the Cooper book like that from you directly
No, we
instead?
don't sell Cooper books. We don't make. Oh my god, I'd be killing it if I sold Cooper books. No,
I know they should
uh,
work out a deal with you all and just say, hey, this is what we're doing. I would easily want to purchase that even now, even
I
though I
mean,
don't.
I don't think they'd want to do that with us. I mean, they already every university already they do it with every university. Why would they want to do it with me? But who knows? Whatever. But the point is that like you could make your book sexy, but you do have to come to us with your book already.
And I think moving forward, I think a lot of people already do that. I got the color pens. I'm just gonna keep saying that. I got the color pens. That was my big win.
Mm, The pens
But I'm just
pens
gonna
are important.
just yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and just close this out. This has been just such a
Wait,
wonderful
I forgot to say the
conversation.
coupon code. Can I say it real quick?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, please
Or
tell
do
the
you
coupon
wanna say it?
code.
Do you wanna say it?
Oh yeah, I'll say yes. If you guys are ready to learn anything
It's
about
15
ABA,
it's
you're ready to
15%
pass
off
that test.
15% off any of the collectives, like video or live for coupon code Blueprint, okay?
Yes, Blueprint. Please remember that. Get the discount, people. Blueprint. So I'm going to close this out. Please make sure you guys follow Liat. If you want to follow me, please just reach out to me on LinkedIn, Arthur Harrison. That's where you can find me the most. Instagram, I'm at The Behavior Dad. Please comment on this episode, The Behavioral Blueprint Podcast. Liat, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.